Hey everybody, Mike with moderngamefix.com. Wanted to hit on some Wii U stuff today and do a quick first impressions of the Nintendo Pro Wii U controller and the Nyko Pro controller. I have both here. In addition to the two that I have here, I also have the PS4 controller, and I don't have an Xbox One controller at this time. These are just points of comparison. But I also have the 360 controller that I use on my PC. But to start things off, the Wii U Pro controller, it's a gloss black controller. It looks like a Wii U. And I love my Wii U. Unfortunately, when you first pick up the controller, it has a little bit of weight to it, but the first thing you're going to notice is it does feel a little cheap. But what I do like about it is the sticks they feel great in your hand. And I should preface this with saying that I haven't got to play a lot of first-person shooters with it, per se. The games that I own are Tropical Freeze, Pikmin, Super Mario 3D World, Marvelous 101, some of the stuff that you're required to use a gamepad on, and then Skyward Sword, which is a Wii game. So my experience with this is limited to some of the Mario stuff and Donkey Kong, so you're really talking about platformers. When you look at the Nyko, it's got kind of a soft matte plastic. In pictures, it actually looks pretty ridiculous. It looks like something Batman would maybe have, but maybe not quite as cool. But the blue is cool. I mean, and the soft matte is actually very comfortable. I'm not going to give a super detailed review here. I'm just going to really kind of just give my opinions of it. After using both, part of me thinks that I should use the Wii U Pro controller the most, just because for some reason I'm just like, well, it's a Nintendo product, and I kind of buy into that. But I'm going to hit on a few things. Comfort-wise, there has been some reviews that say the Nyko controller is kind of a smaller version. It's not. It's a little bit kind of feels larger in the hand than it actually looks when compared to the Wii U controller. I don't know how well this comes across, but it does look smaller. But like anything with the dimensions, if you put one on top of the other, the one on the bottom looks smaller. I would say comfort-wise, I actually prefer the Nyko Pro. Looks-wise, I go for the Wii U controller. I know the gloss black, it does attract prints, but it doesn't looks like some cheap controller sitting on your table, which I think the Nyko does, even though I think it actually I feel like it's better built, quite honestly, than the Nintendo controller. Gameplay, I guess a big piece people would probably be wondering. If you're used to a little bit more standard controller, you're going to be more comfortable here. The big difference comes in the throw of the joysticks. And that's why I have the other two controllers here. The Wii U has just a real quick, short throw. And there's a nice tension to these when you're playing and a good sensitivity. And the same with the PS4 controller. Has a little bit larger throw than the Wii U, and then the 360 controller is even a little bit longer throw than the PS4 controller. And then the Nyko is even a bit longer than all of them. And now I haven't noticed any sensitivity differences. But the stick is a little bit, taller, and it takes a little bit more movement. That said, the triggers actually feel like triggers on this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear or see this, but they actually push down with a real trigger feel. Real similar to what you're going to get on the 360. And it gives you a little feedback, and same with the PS4. The Wii U Pro controller, however, feel like buttons. in addition to the triggers, which should feel like buttons. And I guess that's where I kind of draw the line a little bit. I mean, everything on the Wii U Pro controller, everything is very clicky. And from what I understand, the Wii U isn't going to give you any feedback based on how hard you're pushing the buttons. But when you're gaming, I still like to have that button feel where, again, the Nyko gives you a little bit, again, you're not going to be able to see or feel that, but the buttons just have a little bit more a resistance to them that you're not going to get with the Wii U, where it just feels like you're, you know, hitting, just pressing some random button, which I prefer. I do like the shorter throw of the thumbsticks on the Wii U Pro controller, and the Wii U D-pad does perform a bit better than the Nyko. The Nyko D-pad is actually really pretty terrible. It's soft, it's mushy. I guess the equivalent, I would say, is that people that prefer, well, I don't want to make an Xbox PS4 comparison as far as controllers go, but I would say that the Xbox 360 D-pad would be the equivalent of the Nyko D-pad, and then the D-pad on the Wii U controller would be the equivalent of the PS4 D-pad, which, you know, as far as opinions go, generally speaking, people prefer the D-pad on the PlayStation controller compared to the 360. Now that said, you're only using the D-pad for a select amount of things on, you know, a PlayStation or a 360 controller, where on Nintendo consoles it's going to be a little bit different because some people might be used to playing with the classic Wii remote or the classic Nintendo remote, where you would be using the D-pad a little bit more, in which case the Wii U controller wins hands down. It just presses, it responds right away, as you can see by the lights. So if you know, to boil down, if you're a person that plays platformers like I do and prefers the D-pad response, I would recommend probably the Wii U Nintendo Pro controller. But myself, I'm so used to now using the thumbsticks from the 360 controller and the PS4, PS3 controller that I still game the platformers on Nintendo using the joystick. And even with the longer throw of the Nyko, I prefer having the joystick here and the buttons here. And it's actually quite weird for me, because it must just be from using my 360 controller on my PC, because when it comes to, again, consoles, I actually do not mind the PS4, the PlayStation controller, and having the staggered, the staggered, well, or the symmetrical joysticks, I should say, and then the staggered buttons versus the joystick. So what I would recommend personally for myself, I actually prefer the Nyko controller for what I'm playing. But if you primarily prefer to use the D-pad and really want responsive button clicks, I would use the Wii U Pro. Ultimately, you'd probably want to own both depending on the game that you're playing, but like every Nintendo game, you're then going to own 5 controllers at this point. You'd have the Wii U Pro, you'd have your gamepad, you'd have your Nyko, you'd have your, you know, Wiimote, and then you'd have your nunchuck, which it's getting a little bit ridiculous, Nintendo, I got to admit, and I don't want to use any of these for Smash Brothers, I'll tell you that, when that comes out. But overall impressions, Nyko versus Wii U Pro. Quality-wise, I think the Nyko feels better personally. I'd say they're probably on par. It's really going to be a preference of what games you play and whether you prefer using the D-pad versus the analog sticks. So to give each a score I won't do. I just wanted to give kind of my overview of using both, and then maybe how they compare to some of the more the more popular controllers in the Xbox and the PlayStation controllers. So take it for what you will, but if you have any questions or want me to go in a little more detail, let me know. Thanks. ModernGameFix.com.